for millions of years, and the entire animal kingdom for hundreds of millions of years have learned to procreate without an instruction manual. So if you just try and get humans to do anything well without an instruction manual, you're like, holy shit, there has to be a lot of incentives and drivers, predominantly in our hormonal and endocrine systems, right? Super powerful, but as we said earlier, we're sort of puppets on the string, right? We're just being yanked around by those evolutionary impulses. What happens if you learn to understand them and then can practice some version of sexual fitness, right, as a highly powerful tool to get access to all the same neurochemistry, right, that MDMA PTSD therapy, for instance, uses, which is high prolactin, high oxytocin, high serotonin, all these things. You're like, oh, and Rick Doblin is the one who shared this with me. He said the closest analog we've found is the post-orgasmic state. So you're like, okay, so most people are familiar with the profound results in healing that the MDMA PTSD therapy is producing in clinical trials. And you're like, and it's slow and it's tightly regulated. And not everybody has access, but everybody has access to their own body and to their erotic arousal system. And Nicole Prause, who's a Kinsey Institute researcher, and she's at UCLA, I believe now, has been literally researching orgasm as prescription pharmaceutical for everything from anxiety to depression to palliative pain relief to insomnia to 100. And you're like, perfect. That is exactly what we need. We don't need more pills, right? Wouldn't it be amazing if there was just a YouTube channel and people anywhere with a phone, anywhere around the world could learn a protocol that could provide real, free, effective relief? Music is a dead easy one. It's arguably Daniel Levitin's work at McGill, up your way, has made the case that music even predates language, right? They found bone flutes that are 76,000 years old, and clearly a flute wasn't the first thing. It was probably a soft-toned drum. And that arguably music and rhythm and call and response were some of our earliest socially bonding technologies. Huge impact on neurochemistry, right? And huge impacts on group cohesion. And then substances sort of speak for themselves, right? I mean, Oliver Sacks, the famous neuroscientist, said, say what you want about drugs, but they promise transcendence on demand. And so the capacity, and again, and our desire to be intoxicated, as Ron Siegel at UCLA also has said, is our fourth evolutionary drive. It shows up again across the animal kingdom. Our need to shift states, however we get there. It could be jackass moonshine. It could be fermented fruits. It could be nicotine. It could be, it could be huffing glue in the favelas of Sao Paulo, right? Like, we have a desire to get out of ourselves, and that not just that being destructive and addictive, it can actually be part of a healthy novelty-seeking regimen. So, respiration, embodiment, obviously, there's a huge trend these days for The Body Keeps the Score, Bessel van der Kolk's work, Peter Levine's work, kind of somatically informed trauma. There's also, increasing research on the vagus nerve, increasing research on the endocannabinoid system. Like, these are our bodies. And if we learn to interact with them, tune them, calibrate them, put them in places of resourcefulness, we're going to manage stress and trauma better. We're going to be able to metabolize pre-existing stress, and we're going to be able to keep clean or cleaner on what's coming down the pike at us again. And if you use all those together, if you use any of them apart, each of those is a royal road. They all work. If you combine them, you can get stronger, higher efficacy more interestingly. So that was really the intention, which is, what is a democratized, open source, hard to suppress set of techniques of ecstasy, a sort of a toolkit for inspiration and healing that anyone, anywhere around the world can make use of in an empowering, decentralized local way.